Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Tsveta Reynova. I'm an alumna HBS 09 and volunteer for the HBS Women's Association. I've spent my career post HBS in the media and technology space and have seen firsthand how AI is increasingly being adopted across the value chain in media companies. Last year, I attended HBS's inaugural AI conference and heard our esteemed speaker, Ewa Duerr, present. Her session was one of the most insightful ones, and she truly inspired me to continue learning and deepening my understanding of AI and what it can do for businesses. So we're very, very fortunate today to have Ewa with us to discuss her perspective on the latest developments in AI and what that means for enterprises. Before we dive in, I wanted to share with you a little bit about Ewa's very impressive background. So Ewa leads the product management team for cloud AI applications at Google in California, where she focuses on building applications for businesses based on generative AI and conversation AI, as well as products for industries such as healthcare, retail, telco, and financial services. She's also advising Google on AI to various policymakers and regulatory bodies. She has an MBA from HBS, class of 2011, and is as well as executive education from Stanford and Harvard Kennedy School. Ewa brings a multi-year experience as an entrepreneur and investor at tech startups, as well as management consultant at Bain. She provides a global perspective. She has worked and studied across 6 continents, speaks 7 languages. Interestingly, Ewa comes from a musician family and used to professionally play the violin as first violinist. And she is a passionate marathon runner, motorcycle rider, and holder of a helicopter private pilot license. Truly inspiring, Ewa. Before we jump in, here's how we'll spend the hour. Ewa will share her presentation for the next 40 minutes or so, and then we'll jump into questions. So please add any questions you have as we go along in the chat. Also, if you'd like to connect with any of the folks on the call today, feel free to share your LinkedIn profiles. With that, please join me in welcoming Ewa Duerr. Ewa, over to you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can hear me, guys. And I'm really excited to be back on campus, so to speak. So thank you very much to the Harvard Women's Association for hosting me. I'm always happy to give back to the community to the extent I can. And as Tsveta mentioned, I have been doing AI and I'm passionate about the topic. Over the past 10 years, even though my background is coming from music, kind of consulting across the globe, but then jumping into AI in the right time. However, I have seen that technology developing even over the past 10 years dramatically. And this is what I want to share with you. We are practically just at the beginning still, even though that technology has been here for practically 50 years, much older than I am. So let's have that conversation today, and I will share a few of the demos and use cases that you might see within your enterprises, and maybe as an inspiration to actually empower you to implement those use cases and trust the AI technology, but be cautious as well about mitigating any risks that might appear. So let me start by saying why there is so much hype about AI. I don't think I wake up any single morning without seeing any news about AI transforming any part of our lives, right? So why there is so much hype? And I wanted to as well recap even my past 10 years within Google, that this technology is practically developing quite dramatically. So you might heard about the chatbots, and as we started using them, where you started, so to speak, inputting something, and the AI tools in more robotic voices started responding, and you are more or less satisfied. These were the early stages of AI. Um, but we dramatically passed that stage. We also passed the stage where we had recurrent neural networks, where we analyzed from the AI perspective, technically, so to speak, a few words before and few words after. And based on that, we try to make, let's say, a translation of a sentence. No, today, we actually have AI that can, within milliseconds, understand the whole book and understand the context of the sentence within the context of the whole book. So this is where we are today. We are in the era, and this is what you can see on the chart as well a little bit. We are in the era of agentic AI. What does agentic AI actually means? And I will talk a little bit later on what's the difference between chatbot, assistant, and agents. We all read the news about agents those days. So agents are practically reasoning engines that can proactively think and take multi-step decisions ahead of time, and not only react to what we do. And then where is the future? And I always like to laugh at that point, because um, talking about the future is the hardest thing we can ever do, right? But definitely there are some trends that we are seeing, and I see those trends in hyper automation, hyper personalization, and what we started calling a little bit pre-science proactivity, so to speak. So I don't want to kind of go back to late early 2000s, when we started seeing science fiction movies on like Ex Machina, or Her, or Black Mirror, and so on and so forth. But this is a little bit of the future that where we are heading, where we are gonna have a concierge, an agent and concierge service that is very personalized to every individual. As we build those tools from the AI perspective, the hyper automation, meaning ability to build at individual level the agents that act as if we're the concierges to your users, to your personal needs, that's the future where we are heading. And last but not least, the personalization, the prescience part of this. So AI, given that they have the start understanding a much broader context than they used to in the past, by thinking about few sentences before, a few sentences ahead of us, so to speak, and trying to figure out what that could mean in that context. Now they understand a much broader context, the whole book. We start understanding passages of websites, right? The foundational model are there with multimodal capabilities. So this level of understanding gives AI the ability to be much more proactive. And this is where we are heading going forward. I, by the way, on purpose didn't put the timelines here and the years here, right? Because the technology every day I wake up is changing. So it's very hard to put the timelines here on where when we will see those capabilities really landing. So let me as well touch upon three very important things that are already present today in AI that you didn't probably see that much even 3-4 years ago within an AI. The first one is multimodal. What does it mean? In the past, the AI was really, really good in, say, understanding text and text only, right? Even in the nascent phases of LLMs, so foundational model for text, we were talking about large language models, so understanding the text, right? We passed that stage. Today, AI is multimodal. It is acting in a similar way and analyzing in a similar way as a human being is, taking an input from video, images, text, audio, and analyzes that in a similar way as a human being does, and puts that into the context and outputs as well in the multimodal way. So let me show you one video that we have been working with DeepNamind, at least within Google, in what we call Project Astra. It's all public information, so you can Google that as well if you want. But that gives you a sense of how multimodal that technology can become to solve even basic life problems that we face on a daily basis. So before I start talking more about it, let me just let you see the video.
All right, we've got a Pixel phone loaded with the latest test build of Project Astra, and we're going to leave the office to test it around London. I've got this email with apartment info. Can you tell me the door code and remember it?
I'll remember the door code for you. It is 1170. To unlock it, enter the code and then press the unlock button.
Based on these symbols, how should I wash this?
The tag shows to machine wash at 30 degrees Celsius. Avoid bleach and tumble drying. Iron on low and dry cleanable.
Then what settings should I use on this machine?
Based on the laundry instructions of 30 degrees Celsius, select the 30 setting under Easy Care on the dial.
I've got this list of recommendations. Can you tell me a bit about some of them?
I can search for these places for you. Cold Drops Yard is a shopping destination with unique industrial design. Luminary Bakery is a social enterprise bakery, and Tate Modern is a modern and contemporary art museum.
Now we're going to try Project Astra out on the street. Let's see what it can do. I've always said scone, but now I'm hearing people say scone. Can you help me with the pronunciation?
It's a fascinating topic, the pronunciation of scone. Both scone rhyming with gone and scone rhyming with bone are accepted pronunciations, though regional variations exist.
What can you tell me about this sculpture?
The sculpture you're seeing is called My World in Your World by Eva Rothschild, located in Lewis Cubitt Park in London.
What kind of themes does her work explore?
She creates abstract sculptures that invite viewers to interact with and interpret their surroundings in new ways.
Would these do well if I planted them back home?
Mountain fleece can grow well in New York. They prefer full sun to...
She's been reading. How would you describe her taste in books?
Based on these titles, your friend seems to enjoy a mix of history, biography, and perhaps a touch of political or social commentary.
I picked some of these out. Any idea which one she'd like the most?
Consider Half of a Yellow Sun for its exploration of complex social and political issues within a historical setting, aligning with her interest in narratives that offer insight into significant periods.
Will that bus take me anywhere near Chinatown?
Yes, it does. The 24 bus route goes through Leicester Square, which is very close to Chinatown.
Are there any landmarks on the way?
Riding the number 24 bus, notable landmarks you will likely encounter are Westminster Abbey, Big Ben, and Trafalgar Square.
I also met up with some friends to test out the multilingual capabilities.
Est-ce que tu peux me dire quelque chose d'intéressant à propos de ces lanternes?
Bien sûr, je peux vous parler des lanternes. Les lanternes que vous voyez font partie de la porte d'entrée de Chinatown à Londres. Elles ont une signification culturelle pour les Chinois et sont souvent utilisées pendant les célébrations et les festivals.
இதை பத்தி வேற ஏதாச்சும் சொல்ல முடியுங்களா?
நிச்சயமாக, இது லண்டனில் உள்ள சைனா டவுன் நுழைவாயில். இது ஒரு குறிப்பிடத்தக்க அடையாளமாகும். இது அந்த பகுதியின் கலாச்சார முக்கியத்துவத்தை குறிக்கிறது.
Now I'm using these prototype glasses to test Project Astra hands-free. Can you check if it's going to rain anytime soon?
It looks like it is currently mostly sunny in London. Rain is expected tonight from around 10 p.m. until tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Hey, what's that park next to me?
The park looks to be Primrose Hill, known for its panoramic city views and the notable Shakespeare's tree.
Can you check if I can bike in there?
It appears that cycling is actually banned within Primrose Hill itself, although it is permitted in nearby areas and the rest of Regent's Park.
I'm biking back to Camden. Can you check if there's any supermarkets along the way?
There's a Sainsbury's on Camden Road, a Morrison's on Chalk Farm Road, and an M&S Simply Food on Camden High Street.
What was the door code again?
The door code you saved previously is 1170.
Oh, thanks. That works.
Isn't that impressive? And if you have children that are still struggling with the washing machine, how to use them, and yeah, AI probably can be a good advisor here as well. Just jokes apart. But you can see how the blurring of the multimodal capabilities are there to solve really and take that context into consideration, even using both internal, so to speak, knowledge of the person that is being considered here, my colleague, but from DeepMind, but at the same time as well, taking maps information of London and to find places, make recommendations, taking as well AI from the recommendation point of view to recommend books, right? That the friend of the DeepMind colleague can like, right, or might like. So these are all the things that it make that technology so powerful. The second part I want to tackle upon is AI started becoming intelligent. And we talk about intelligence, it can mean thousands of different things. But I want to double down on what it means actually from the AI perspective. So as I mentioned before, we passed the stage where AI was just analyzing a context of few sentences to make semantic understanding inference, so to speak. Today, AI can understand books in milliseconds. So that gives this technology a very powerful, that gives that technology a very, very powerful way to understand the context in which it is operating. For example, in that first column, understanding a joke. So the same sentence could be serious or a joke at the same time using exactly the same word, right? The second aspect is what we call in technical terms chain of thought. And here you can see, at least I will double down on the second example, is how you use language to try to trick AI to give a wrong answer, but it doesn't get tricked in that case, right? Because you asked the question, if you want to get from A to B and it takes 40 minutes by car, well, how much time would it take if I go with 2 cars, right? And you could think that AI with some language understanding, mathematical reasoning, might come up with the answer saying, yeah, it takes 20 minutes because we have 2 cars, right? Well, no, it doesn't get tracked because it's already figured out that with 2 cars, it doesn't save you a lot of time because you are still needing to go through the same distance from A to B. And last but not least, this is the power of reinforcement learning. Technically meaning that AI is taking in a similar manner as babies learning, so to speak, some actions and learns by itself through reinforcement, award and punishment, so to speak, and does it better next time in a similar way as baby does. It touches something and it's hot, then maybe next time it doesn't touch something that looks very similar, right? So in a similar way, reinforcement learning always encourages AI to build on its own capabilities to enhance the actions it will take in the future. So that's a little bit the intelligence part and where we are heading. And last but not least, generative AI, which means practically generating new content. And you have probably experimented already with prompting, either with ChatGPT or Gemini or any other tool and model you might have used. So prompting and trying to generate images. And in fact, anecdotal story even from my personal life, I tend to travel with my parents, so to speak, every year somewhere in the world. I ask them, where do you want to go? And they pick up, I don't know, Rome or Rio de Janeiro or China or something, right? And recently I asked them, this year, where do you want to go? And my father sent me a video and said, where is that? It's so beautiful. And I watched this and I was like, this place doesn't exist. It's an AI generated video. Probably somebody prompted something that looked really beautiful, huge mountains and really fantastic. But unfortunately, that's not somewhere where I can take my parents to. But this gives the power of AI, of really generating something that we really, really like. And since I am personally coming, as Treta mentioned, from musician family and from our area of arts, I tend to even experiment over the weekends myself with that technology. So this is the output of that, so to speak, that you will see how AI can actually do continuation of the work. If you ask AI, please continue this Shakespeare work, or please continue this Mozart piece, right? This is what roughly is coming out. So I just wanted to show you even something that I'm doing over the weekends, just to show the power of that technology.
Nay, nay, lording, answered Wolf. We know not how to call you lord or lady. We have lived too long in the forest, and are now
If you are not impressed by that, then I was. It's really good, right? So this is the power of where we are heading. And last piece on generation is even in video, you practically can ask AI to make an interpolation. So you practically put the first frame and the last frame, and you ask the AI to interpolate the video, so to speak, in between. And this is what's that's something that is shown in the middle in the very simple picture. But this is the whole kind of power of what we can do as well with the even video generation. So let me now switch to what it actually means for enterprises, since I have this many leaders in this call of big companies, and you are really transforming businesses and how we do business within the world, changing the world. So wanted to give you a little bit of a how we are, and I am approaching that from my even daily work. In empowering businesses to drive the transformation with AI and what that technology can do. Before I do that, I promised I will come back with a kind of a little bit of a housekeeping of what does bot versus agent mean, right? Because we all read that in the news, and I wanted to make sure we have a common understanding on that. So in the past, we a lot interacted and maybe even burnt ourselves with interaction with the bots because they were not very good in, say, booking the flights or booking an appointment. And bots were practically the ones that followed a little bit of a rule-based system. That's what we call the deterministic system, predefined rules. So if you try to book, typically AI was advised to ask, okay, what's the date? What's the time you want to book something, with whom, for how long, how many people, and so on and so forth. So it followed certain rules to ask the user of what to input. And when it went beyond that, then it was like already, okay, I will transfer you to a human agent, so to speak, right? because it started becoming too complex. Then we had assistants. Assistants were enhanced bots because they were a little bit better in a sense that they still reacted to user prompts, but then they were going a bit further. Okay, if you purchased this, then maybe you might also like this. So they were going a little bit further in understanding and personalizing to the user needs, right? But now we passed that stage as well. Now we are in the era of agents, and agents not only react to human prompts and to the input that the user is giving, but they as well are very proactive. They take a much broader context to complete a much more complex tasks, multi-steps actions, think ahead, are proactively asking. So in a sense, like you might be a mother and you are not only thinking, reacting to your child's behavior in that very moment. You think ahead what my child might need in a near or even longer term future. You are like a concierge to your child. So this is where agents are heading, and this is where we will see more and more of that impact, even in the businesses as we think about the users. So to say that in a very simple words is we passed the stage where us and the employees of the companies within your enterprises are assisted with AI. We are at the stage where employees are collaborating with AI, and I would go even further. We will see the world where AI is actually interacting with AI. Even within Google those days, sometimes we actually use AI to build AI to test AI. So if I build something, an AI tool is the other AI testing this, and then are we seeing the better results through that learning? Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm a prover of that technology, right? To be launched or not. And many times we still don't approve, right? But still, there is that that trend of AI interacting with AI and AI agents interacting with AI agents to make our technology even better. And the expectations are rising from the company's standpoint. So you'll see, and you will discuss it as well within your environment and with your employees as well and colleagues. So I touched upon personalization, and that personalization has been here for like 20 years, right? People talked about the personalization, but here I'm talking about this hyper personalization to really individual users. And as well, a little bit of a personal story maybe here, like how can companies design personalization and think they are doing a good job, but they are actually not. So in fact, I am not a mother. And I'm a bit tiny from the sizing perspective, so to speak, for US sometimes. And sometimes I actually buy clothing from the child's department, right? But I'm not a mother, as I said, so I actually don't have children. But at the same time, that brand, thinking that I'm buying for children, sends me a lot of content for children. Like, how do I have the latest app for gaming at school? How do I become cool at school? How do I get more likes on Facebook, and so on and so forth, right? So, and actually this content is personalized, so to speak, to a teenager, but not to me. And it gets even worse because I keep buying those clothing over that website from children's department, that they send me even more. So it's kind of a vicious circle. They think they are doing great job personalizing, but they are not. They are sending me spam from my perspective, right? So really doing personalization in a really good way, it's hard. and expectations of users, of your companies, are raising. The second, I mentioned already a little bit, the proactivity. How do you think ahead? How do you become a concierge service to your customers rather than just being reactive, right? So this era of agents and concierges rather than being the era of chats and bots. The other aspect is omni-channel. I personally as well took myself a goal to solve this problem from the technology point of view, because I really don't like going to a say store and then call a call center or buy on the website, and none of those channels has any history of my interaction in each of those channels individually. Holistically, they should be knowing this is the same brand, and I don't want to mention any brands here, right? But this is the same brand I'm interacting. They should be having this information and coordinating between themselves, right? Between all those channels. And those channels are as well exploding. So in the past, we had a website, we had a call center, and we have let's say a physical store. But now it's social media, WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. So all those channels are actually expanding. And last but not least, maybe on the right-hand side, more from the enterprise readiness and building perspective, what are the customizations that you need to have within your enterprise as you build those technologies and transform the businesses with that technology to your specific needs? What are the customer experiences that you need to build to not only solve problems, particularly in the call center, let's say, but to also drive this upsell and cross-sell opportunities and more holistic interaction with the user rather than just being a kind of problem resolution channel for them. And last but not least, I don't want to even talk a lot about it, because we all realize that the compliance and governance across the globe, in Europe,
for early birthday launch.
in the US or Japan, and I travel really a lot and I see those differences as well. So making sure that our technology is compliant with the regulatory standards and governance standards of the company and the country that we are operating in is of huge importance. So what are the use cases that I have been seeing the most? And if you haven't done any of that, then really think about it, because these are the examples that really change the world all the time of businesses. So if you are still not investing there, then actually you might be already behind some of the players. So let me talk and give you an example of an employee agent, even though this is such a broad area. Here I brought an example of what we call AI coach or AI trainer. AI coach is kind of think about this as an employee, really human being interacting with a customer, but getting a recommendation. What should I say? Because the complexity of a human being sometimes is so huge, even within the telco, so many plans, so many variations, right? So having that assistance on the spot, what this user might need is really what the AI coach is about. And AI trainer is actually an AI simulated trainer. And many companies love this, because if you have a training with the humans, sometimes humans are actually embarrassed to be in front of the other human to really learn. But if you know that you are actually training with an AI, with a tool, then you are more open to experiment and you learn faster. So we have been seeing a lot of success in AI trainer as well, being much more effective in training, just because human beings are not embarrassed by that. So let's give me an example of that, of how it works actually in practice.
AI Coach provides real-time feedback to agents during customer interactions. Agents get instant suggestions, best next actions, and relevant information, ensuring a swift and positive customer interaction. Agents can even get suggestions to upsell. A personalized AI-crafted response is just a click away. AI Trainer gets your agents up to speed quickly, improving agent performance and reducing training costs. Managers can create custom scenarios to help agents learn skills or build on areas in need of improvement, and then assign scenarios to new hires or existing team members.
Sorry for interrupting, but are you
AI
showing
Trainer
something?
then simulates a real
Are you guys
customer
seeing something?
interaction, either via chat or voice, providing personalized training based on the agent's
Oh,
historical
I'm not.
interactions.
Okay, I don't know why, but
Reinforcing
thanks.
positive performance and gently coaching agents in areas that need improvement.
I hope people were able to see that as well, because this was a video as well. So I heard somebody was not able to see that. So hopefully was able to fix this.
Yeah, looks like I saw it, but some people didn't. So it was a mix. Some saw it, some didn't.
Okay. And the other example that I wanted to give you was the code agent. So to be very honest with you, if I go through Google those days, people talk instead of writing. So those days we actually use natural language to code, and that natural language is being transformed into the code automatically. And we did a recent survey, and 25% within Google of the code is actually generated by AI, by us talking to the computer, so to speak. We obviously accept that code or test on that code, right? But it's dramatically increasing the productivity of my software engineers that I work with. And the last piece is as well, it truly allows to enhance the process of even improving the code quality. So by debugging, fixing the problems, so it automatically identifies the problems and tests that. So using AI in that area is as well a huge productivity boost. So if your company is still not using AI to automate coding, then you are dramatically behind, because this is one of the core use cases that practically almost every company I work with is using. Last but not least, creative agents. Just as an example, think about a campaign that you want to launch, and I showed the video of how can you actually create new content with generative AI. So this is huge as well, productivity improvement for your design teams that can design campaigns and even launch and monitor those campaigns and improve and personalize to your users. So just wanted to give you one example here of a hypothetical company that is trying to design a campaign, and how AI is actually assisting that process.
Oh shit.
No shit. No way.
Yeah, so hopefully people were able to see that, but this is really powerful how you can not only design new content and interact and assist that creative process, but as well make sure that this applies to your company brand standards, right? So you can always input the additional information on how do you want to actually the design to look like, and make sure that the rules of your brand standards are being followed as you design, so to speak, that creative campaign. And I think I need to go up and again here. And I want to finish with customer agents, something that we all can understand how it impacts our world. And this is in automotive as well. And I promise this is the last demo I will play today. But this gives you a really, really powerful experience of how your daily commute can even look like or work in the car. And this is actually something my team is very closely working on at this point of time to make that experience reality. And that actually bridges a lot of this proactivity, multimodality in an experience that we can have every single day as we drive the car.
Good morning, Max. I'm adjusting the seat and climate to your preferred settings. Right now, the fastest route to your office is M25 to A2, currently estimated at 1 hour 3 minutes. Alternatively, you can take the M25 to A282 and A13, currently estimated at 1 hour 14 minutes.
Let's go with the first one.
Great. I've set your route to M25 merging onto A2 in approximately 14 miles.
Thanks. Put on Sport Talk for the drive.
15-yard penalty and automatic first down.
Callum just replied to your message saying he can do lunch tomorrow from 12 to 1. He mentioned pasta.
Fantastic. Yes. Find us a good Italian restaurant close to Callum's office. Make sure it works for business meetings.
How about Amore Mio? It's 2 blocks from Callum's office, and the reviews indicate it's ideal for business meetings.
Great. Let's go with that. Tomorrow from 12 to 1.
I'll call the restaurant and make the reservation. Done. I've confirmed your reservation for tomorrow at 12 p.m. at Amore Mio. I've blocked the time on your calendar and included driving directions. Would you like me to add Callum to the calendar invitation?
Please do.
Okay. I've added Callum to the calendar invitation and sent it to his work email. Heads up, Max. An accident has been reported on the A2 west of Darenth. I've updated your route to avoid the backup, but you'll still arrive at the office 30 minutes later than originally planned. You may be late for your 9 a.m. meeting.
Okay, email the team saying I will have to join remotely.
No problem. I've drafted an email and created a Google Meet link for everyone to use. Do you want me to read the email to you before sending?
No, I trust you.
Done. Hey Max, your battery is at 35%. That might not be enough to get home from work tonight. Car Park A at your office building currently has 3 EV charging bays available. Would you like me to hold one for you?
Good catch. Yes, please.
Done. I've reserved and prepaid for EV bay number
Oh my God,
12
this is so
and
cool.
let them know you'll arrive in about 10 minutes. Just scan the QR code I texted you to enter.
Great, thanks. Roll up the windows and play my offline mix set.
Isn't that the driving experience we all want to have? We want to be proactive while sending emails on the way, while booking restaurants and charging stations. And you could see how the AI started being proactive here as well about, for example, the battery running low. So this is the experience that we are building with AI overall, and that the world is experiencing those days. So think about that vision and get inspired as well to build something similar within your companies that you are working for. But let me finish with one of the most important things I really want this presentation and leave you with is, while I'm extremely excited by working on that technology every single day and shaping this world of AI and how this is transforming businesses, I cannot strengthen enough how important it is to actually make that responsible. And let me share a few thoughts of how I am thinking about it with my team as well, while employing tools and building tools that can enable that the building of responsible AI, and how we are working actually, at least from the Google perspective, on those tools and interacting with many of the other stakeholders on that. So from the product side and technology side, we actually tend to think about it in three different ways. The first one is I have a very, very strict process with many, many cross-functional stakeholders that I work with, including lawyers, including testers, and even external institutions that go with what we call product reviews and case reviews, and they think about the technology before it's being launched on the market, on how it can be misused. Not only how it can be used, but how it can be misused so that we prevent anything bad going on, right? And the second aspect is, how do we empower companies to employ tools? And I will talk a little bit about it in a second, of to control and mitigate any risks that might come up with that technology. And last but not least, Sveta mentioned at the beginning that I really work with many policymakers, institutions across the US and the EU, in particular, coming from the EU personally, that I'm passionate about. So I want to make sure we have that dialogue. What is the right regulation? What is the right best practices that we can work with? How do we educate the people? And that's one of the sessions today that I'm doing, right? Like, how do we educate about that technology so that we drive that responsible use of AI. And I would just give you a fraction of the tools that to start with, of how we are thinking about it. And I'm thinking about it in my daily work. But this is really such an open area of what can be done, and I think we'll see more and more of that in the upcoming years. So just to give you one example is digital watermarking. So how do you ensure that there is, and let's say, an image, a video created by AI, and that you have an IP behind it, so to speak? So we designed what we call digital watermarking, where you have invisible identifier behind each picture or each video, and we worked with DeepMind on that. There are a couple of others that are super important. The one of them is actually grounding. So how do you minimize the risk of hallucinations? So how do you drive the best responses grounded on some type of data, right? So we have many tools, and many companies have tools for grounding. And you can ground on your private data, so meaning your company data, right? where you use your internal policies, rules to actually, or catalogs of products, right, to actually input that data into the system, index them, and then use that information to give better answers through those agents, assistants, and so on and so forth. So you can do it using your private data. You can actually, I always say, anything you can index and ground. It could be the whole web, right? That's the whole idea of foundational models. But you can actually pinpoint even to specific knowledge in the web. And we obviously within Google, we ground, for example, on Google Maps 100 million times a day because the maps is changing so fast. So to be able to give the best and most accurate information output with our models and tools. So that's one example, but you can practically ground and index anything and output that later on. And last but not least, you can ground on third-party content, things like specific to your industry, could be legal, could be Thomson Reuters, could be Bloomberg, you name it, right? But anything that is very specific to your industry, and I have worked really with many industries, so there are specific things from healthcare to financial services to legal and so on and so forth that you might want to use. And then as well, very important, if you ask AI how to build a bomb, right, you obviously don't want the output to be there, right? You should have a fallback. I cannot answer this question from AI on this is an idea of a safety filter. So any harmful, violent output should be monitored, right? And you actually want to be able to set those safety filters in a different way. If you are designing those safety filters for testing, you probably don't want them, you want to see what might be coming out, right? As an internal employee testing the tool. So you'd set the safety filters very low, but if you want to expose AI to your external users, you practically want to set the filters very high so that any potential violent or insecure or public safety output is actually not being exposed. So this is the idea of the safety filters. For those who work in educational institutions, I think recitation checks, students or our children sometimes as well tend to design something for and write essays using AI. So you want to actually check, is that written by the person or is that created by AI? And this is the idea of the recitation checks. We are seeing how many of the output of the AI is actually copy pasted, and that avoids as well any of the IP issues and so on and so forth. And last piece is really safety bias evaluations. Also, anything that might touch upon any discriminatory aspects, whether it's gender, language, religion, and so on and so forth. Obviously, you want to mitigate any of those risks. So safety bias evaluations are a super important tool for us as well to avoid those situations. So with that, I want to finish here by saying the most important thing is really you can only build AI for longer term if it is responsible. So if there is anything you want, nothing else you want to take from these presentations, this would be the most important message I want to leave people with. And on that note, thank you very much, and I can answer a few questions.
Thank you so much, Ewa. This was incredible. Thank you. We probably don't have too much time